Okay, so everybody refuses to settle. They say that, right? Okay, wonderful. That's really wonderful. But some of you are not looking for a partner. You're actually conducting a nationwide executive search. You want someone who loves you exactly the way that you are. You know, like, don't go changing to try to please me. You never let me down before. I love you just the way you are. Okay, so you're someone has chemistry and stability and excitement and security, ambition, unlimited availability, emotional vulnerability, and someone who looks fantastic in a pair of Levi's while they're taking out the dishes from the dishwasher. Okay, today, everyone, we are asking one dangerous question. Are your standards protecting you or are they keeping you alone? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ask Dr. Karen. Today's topic is impossible standards. Now, let me be clear before the internet starts bonfire in my front yard. You should absolutely have standards. Please, have several. Have all of the standards. Don't tolerate dishonesty, disrespect, manipulation. Don't tolerate abuse. Those aren't preferences. Those should be deal breakers. But okay, here's the difference between protecting yourself and rejecting someone because he's 5'9", but like you actually have been dreaming and you've committed to yourself to somebody who's like 6'3". Okay. It's safe to say that we live in a very fascinating time. People have access to more potential partners that at any point in history, literally thousands of profiles, pictures, like at the click of a button. Okay. Yet somehow people are lonelier than ever. Why is that? Because every date has become an audition. There's no relaxing. I don't think anyone really gets to know each other. Everybody is quietly wondering if someone is only better like in the next swipe away. And while they're waiting, years are going by. So today we're going to ask 3 uncomfortable questions. When are standards healthy? When do they become unrealistic? And when is the problem no longer the dating pool? When is the problem you? Okay, I know. We're getting uncomfortable early today. I know. Hang in there with me. Okay, so here is something that people rarely enjoy hearing, but I'm going to be honest with you because that's what I do here. Sometimes I know my worth actually means I've become incredibly good at making sure no one gets close enough to disappoint me. Okay? Having standards protects you, but they can also hide you. Okay? If every person you date becomes unacceptable by like round 3 at dinner, then we should probably consider 2 possibilities. Either you are the unluckiest dater in North America, or you're running a quality control department that no human being can ever pass. Okay? So let's meet our first viewer.
Hi, Dr. Karen. I'm 38 years old. I'm successful, financially independent, and I've been single for almost 7 years. Before you ask, yes, I've dated. I've dated so much I feel like I should receive continuing education credits. I've done the apps. Friends have introduced me to people. I've gone to singles events. I even let my mother set me up once, which I consider an act of emotional desperation. My problem is I keep meeting really good men. But there's always something. One guy was funny, successful, kind, emotionally available. But I just wasn't attracted enough. Another guy was incredibly attractive, but I thought his career should have been further along. Another man owned a home, wanted children, treated me incredibly well, but he was quiet. I kept thinking, what if I get bored? So I ended it. He's married now. Here's where I'm struggling. I don't think my standards are unreasonable. I want someone I'm attracted to. Someone kind, funny, successful, emotionally intelligent, family-oriented, financially responsible, good communicator, someone adventurous but stable, confident but humble. As I hear myself saying this, I'm beginning to understand why I'm making this video. My friends tell me I don't give people enough time. If I don't feel excited after 2 or 3 dates, I usually end it. I've always told myself I was trusting my instincts. Lately, I've started wondering if my instincts are sabotaging me. So here's my question. How do I know the difference between healthy standards and expecting one human being to be everything? I don't want to settle. But I'm starting to wonder if I've confused settling with accepting that I'm dating a flesh and blood human being.
Emily, first of all, thank you for your honesty and congratulations. You have successfully designed the perfect man. Unfortunately, he currently only exists in like a very secure research laboratory somewhere like out in the middle of like Geneva, because that's where fictional people are manufactured. Huh. Okay, Emily. Here's the real problem here. Okay, so nothing that I've heard on your list sounds unreasonable, but that's what makes this so sneaky. Attraction. You want him to be hot. Okay, that's reasonable. Kindness? Absolutely. Every single person that you're pursuing should be kind. Financially responsible? Yeah. Emotional maturity. For the love of God, please. Yes, gotta keep that one. Okay. But eventually, Emily, every preference on your list has become a requirement. And that's where things, I believe, have changed. It seems like you're no longer looking for compatibility. You've begun to craft like a custom automobile. And people aren't like that, they don't come with option packages. They come with baggage and habits and personality and flaws and history and occasionally like a horrible, disgusting taste in music, Okay, but here's something else that I've noticed. Okay, you want an ambitious man who has a lot of time. Duh, who doesn't, You want someone who's adventurous, but who's also predictable. Someone who's confident, but you don't want that person to challenge you. Someone who's sensitive, but who doesn't need emotional support himself. None of these things are describing any human being that I've ever heard of. You don't really want a boyfriend, I think. I think you want a Labrador retriever with a retirement account and a 401k, So, okay. Let's talk about chemistry first, okay? Immediate chemistry. It feels amazing. It's exciting. It's intoxicating. It's also a terrible hiring manager. Okay, some of the worst relationships in like the literal history of the entire world because they started with like, oh my God, we have great chemistry. But no one has ever said like, he ruined my life, I have to admit, but God, that first date was pretty average, I guess. Like, no. Excitement, compatibility, they're not the same thing. So if you're completely unattracted to someone, don't force it, okay? But if you enjoy their company, respect them, and if you feel safe with that person, there's at least some attraction there to a degree, Maybe like you don't need to like deep dive and perform like an autopsy there, but like after 2 dinners, attraction might start to grow. I mean, trust 100% will. If we all based everything in our lives off of just plain old chemistry in the bedroom, my God, like, where will we all be? So, here's my advice, Emily. Okay, take your standards, take your list of standards and divide them into 3 separate lists, okay? 1, non-negotiables, and those things should be honesty, respect, kindness, shared values, wanting children, things that like at the end of the day, when you wipe out appearance and all those like fun things, what are the things that matter at the end of the day? Like at the end of your day, those are things that are non-negotiables, okay? Next is going to be preferences, hair, height, color, money, favorite hobbies. Those are not character qualities. Those are added bonuses, okay? And then you have a third category of bonuses. He speaks Italian. Maybe he makes a really good pizza. Okay, wonderful, great. But do not confuse dessert with dinner. We all want the dessert, but you have to eat the greens and the chicken and the protein before you can get there, okay? Emily, I'm not telling you to lower your standards. You have great standards. I'm just asking you to examine your screening process, because it comes to a point where refusing to settle starts to look like you're refusing to choose. And those things are very, very different.
Hi, Dr. Karen. I'm 42 years old. I've never been married. I'd like to get married and have children. My friends tell me my standards are unrealistic. I disagree. I'm successful. I own my home. I stay in shape. I've worked hard to build a career. I know what I want. I'm looking for a woman who's attractive, fit, emotionally stable, family-oriented, intelligent, and supportive. I'd also prefer someone between 28 and 34 because I want kids. I don't want someone obsessed with social media. I don't want constant drama. I don't want someone who parties every weekend. I work about 60 hours a week, and I travel a lot. My last girlfriend complained she never saw me. I told her I was building our future. She said I was building a future that apparently didn't include her. That seemed unfair. I've met women who fit what I'm looking for, but eventually they all seem to want more time than I can give, or they expect me to rearrange my career around the relationship. So here's my question. Am I really asking for too much? Or have people simply lowered their standards?
Okay. First of all, your friends sound exhausting. But I would agree, they're also right. You've clearly spent years thinking about the woman that you want. You want her to be young, beautiful, healthy, emotionally stable, supportive, family-oriented. Yes, yes, yes. Available whenever you would like. But you would also like her to be patient enough to wait quietly while you work a 60-hour work week. Okay? Here's the question that you've never asked. Why would any woman choose that lifestyle? And I do not mean that as an insult. It is a very serious question. Relationships they're interviews, but they're not one-way interviews, okay? They're negotiations. Everyone has standards, including the people that you're trying to date, okay? You want someone who understands your demanding career, which is completely fair. I would want the same thing. But do you understand her career? Do you understand flexibility and support and patience? Okay? Compromise, like those are all wonderful qualities. The interesting part is that they're exactly the same things that she is probably wanting. So, sir, it doesn't seem like you really have a relationship plan. You have a job description. And somehow the salary is gratitude. You know, ask any person out there who is married with children. That's going to change your schedule. And when you have kids, flip that schedule on its head, okay? If you are serious about finding a wife and having a family, you have to stop asking, is she going to fit into my life? And you need to ask yourself, am I going to build a life that someone else would actually want to be a part of? You're making a team, okay? Because the woman that you're describing, they exist. They're definitely out there somewhere, but she might also have standards like yours. And you might be on the opposite end of that interview and she might pass. Okay, everyone, our next question comes from a viewer who has asked that we keep her anonymous. I think you're going to understand why.
Dear Dr. Karen, I think I ruined a good marriage because I was searching for a perfect one. My husband and I were married for 9 years. He was loyal, he worked hard, he loved our children, he came home every night, he never cheated, he never abused me, he wasn't perfect, but he was dependable. Back then, I called that the minimum. He wasn't romantic, he wasn't spontaneous, he wasn't a great communicator. He could walk past a full trash can for 3 days without realizing it had become part of the furniture. But he was there. I stopped noticing that. Instead, I compared him to everybody else's husband. The anniversary vacations, the flowers, the surprise weekends, the perfect couples on social media. Meanwhile, my husband bought me a vacuum cleaner for our anniversary. I nearly filed for divorce before I even opened the box. Eventually, I convinced myself I was settling. So, we divorced. 3 years later, he's remarried. I'm still dating. And I've been ghosted, love-bombed, breadcrumbed, lied to, and once discovered the man I'd been dating had a fiancée. She was lovely. We still exchange Christmas cards. My question is this: how do you know if you're truly unhappy, or if you've simply forgotten how to appreciate a good person? Signed, possibly learned this too late.
Yeah, that one hurts. Because unlike our first two questions, this one is not about what might happen. This is actively happening. Okay, first let me say something important. Leaving a relationship does not require someone to be a villain. Sometimes people are not good together. And sometimes marriages end up being unhealthy, and that's real. Comparison, though, is the fastest way to destroy your gratitude. So if you compare your everyday life to someone else's highlight reel, and like it's the beach vacation, but you're not seeing the argument on the way home from that beach vacation, you're only seeing flowers. You didn't see the apology that came before the flowers, okay? Your social media rarely shows the whole relationship. It shows a commercial reel. It's not the documentary version, okay? There's another lesson in this, I think. Long-term love eventually becomes ordinary. That's not a failure, though. Sometimes ordinary means peaceful. Sometimes it means predictable. Sometimes it means someone sitting quietly beside you at night. It doesn't necessarily mean it's boring. It could just be home. You know? Should you have stayed? I don't know. I mean, neither do you. And no amount of replaying it in your head and the past, it's not going to change that. But you can learn something, I think. I feel like if you ask yourself the next time you fall in love, ask, am I unhappy because of something I'm missing? Or am I so focused on perfection that I've stopped appreciating what I already have? I mean, I think those are different questions. Although, just for the record, a vacuum cleaner is still an absolutely terrible anniversary gift. So I'm not going to be rewriting history that much, I guess. All right, everyone, it's our favorite part of the episode. We are going to be doing some rapid fire questions from our viewers just like you at home. All right, let's see. Question number 1. Is it shallow to reject someone because of their height? I think it depends on the height. If you're 5'4", which is my current height, and you're, someone lies about their height, I would say that that's a huge red flag. I would definitely not be inclined to go out with that person again. I would be really upset if someone said they were 6'1" and they showed up and they were 5'3". If you're at my eye level, that could be problematic, especially if you lie about it. But you know what? Sometimes we all love a short king. All right, question number 2. How many dates should I give someone if I do not feel a spark? My go-to rule is 3 dates. I'd say 1 to get to know them, 1 to really see how you feel, test the waters, and 3 to lock it in. I would say 3. Third time is the charm. That's my personal opinion. I think you can get a good full grasp on someone's character in that many dates. But don't try to force it, okay? Don't. All right, question number 4. My boyfriend is almost perfect, but I keep wondering if someone is better out there, what should I do? Well, that was very on brand with today's questions we answered. I feel like there's a lot of need for quick responses and what if and what if. My suggestion is that this person who sent this in, I think you should go off of social media. Take a break. Stop comparing your life to other people. If you have an amazing partner, keep that person, because odds are you're who knows? Who knows what's out there? Maybe you'll find someone better, maybe you won't. But if you're satisfied with your person that you're currently with and you're happy, keep them. That's my hot take. Okay, my friends think I can do better. Should I listen? Okay, I'm just going to give you the true answer here because that's what we do at Dr. Karen's. If your friends are telling you you're dating a loser, listen to your friends. Friends are never wrong, okay? I have been around the block with certain people, and if my friends, my dear, dear friends, and my family don't like that person, they're a dud. In this case, listen to your friends. The friends never lie. Question number 6. Is refusing to settle always a good thing? I think that depends too. I think that we should have standards like I described earlier in our episode, but if your standards become a shopping list, then we start to have some problems. I think that if you're going back over and over again, your standards seem to be too high, do a deep dive on yourself and see if you actually might be the problem here. Okay, if someone really likes me, why don't they text me back? You ready for the answer? Buckle up. They don't. They don't like you. Not enough. If they really were interested in you and they were not able to speak to you, they would give you an explanation as to why. They would say, hey, I'm so sorry. I'm busy right now. Can I reconnect with you in about 3 days when I won't be? Easy peasy. Okay, question number 8. How soon is too soon to say I love you? I don't really know if there's a direct answer for this question, but I do think that there is a certain time frame that's too soon. Maybe, let's just say within the first couple of weeks, months maybe, that's too soon. That's a bit hasty. I think after that point, it depends on the person. As long as you're not running away to the altar after 2 weeks, I think you're in the clear, but don't be crazy. Don't be crazy. That might need to be the new thing we say on this channel. Don't be crazy, people, please. Don't be crazy. All right, is it a red flag if my partner will talk to their ex? Okay, question number 1, did they share children? If they share children, get used to it. They will be talking to that ex. They share a child. They co-parent together, okay? If they don't, let's take that away. They do not share children. Why are they talking to their ex? They don't need to be talking to their ex unless there's some sort of a family emergency that includes multiple people. No, there should be no communication with ex. The end. Don't be crazy, people, once again. Okay, and question number 10, why do I keep falling for the wrong people? Oof. All right, I'm going to be real honest with the people who wrote this. I mean, sometimes this is even applied to myself at a younger point in my life. Sometimes us girls just love a bad boy. Okay, we love a bad boy, but I'm going to be really direct. A bad boy is not someone that's going to be a husband. They're not going to be able to be brought home to meet your family. They're going to be fun, and then that fun is going to leave, okay? So maybe try going for someone that's different than someone you normally would go for and just see what happens, okay? None of this is that deep, but just try. It couldn't hurt, okay? All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us today. Just remember a few key points from this overall conversation that we had today. Standards in general are great. They protect you. They're healthy, okay? Everyone should have standards. We should respect ourselves enough to have them. But please, please, people, do not confuse standards with perfection, okay? No one is perfect. You can't custom build the perfect man or partner. Every relationship is between two imperfect people, okay? Ask yourself, what can I do to be better for other people, okay? Treat others the way you would like to be treated, okay? I think it's really simple, focus on what matters most. Shared values, kindness, how you're being treated, okay? All the other things, outward appearance will fade, status will fade. Those are all superficial anyways, okay? Choose reality over fantasy. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. We've all read 50 Shades of Grey. We have all read A Court of Thorns and Roses. We are all very, very involved in like the fairy pretend world and how there's beautiful men out there with washboard abs who can do no wrong. But ladies, that is a book. That is fiction, okay? I beg of you to choose reality. I beg of you to choose reality over fantasy, okay? Don't be crazy. Just don't be crazy. I guess if I had to have a closing note here, ladies and gentlemen, it would be use your brain. Don't be crazy. Okay? And, as we always say here, comfort is overrated, but truth is not. Thanks for chatting. Bye-bye. I would love to hear your stories, so send us your emails, your voice messages, your phone calls, your texts, even snail mail, old-fashioned letter, whatever. Tell us what's happening. Tell us where you're stuck. And do not worry if your story is messy. Those are usually the ones that probably will end up helping the most people. And maybe we'll feature one of your questions in an upcoming episode of Ask Dr. Karen. And until next time, comfort is overrated. Truth is not.